this week for your defense?
A lot of it has been, kind of the coaching staff and us watching cut-ups with our players, and going through and really trying to dive into what we need to get better at, and at the same time what we're doing well, and things that we can, improve on, people we need to play more, situations we need to improve on. So it's kind of an overall, almost like a forensics of what we need to do. And then on the practice field, we're really working on the fundamentals. I think you always need to stick with them. Anytime you go away from it, he's usually ends up in poor performance.
What would you say is Leo Lewis's strength through the first month?
Yeah, he's been productive and he's played physical. I think he's done a nice job with that. He's continuing to show good instincts, which it's you either have them or you don't. But I've been pleased with the way he's handled himself off the field. I think he's handling the increased play time. I think he's handling himself on the practice field, and I'm seeing good maturity and good improvement. So we've got to keep that going.
When you look back at the UMass game, those touchdown passes, it looked like most of the players were in position. They just didn't come out on the ball, whether it be Jamal or Lashard. What are some of the things you're teaching this week that I guess could help those players make those plays?
Yeah, those are things, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, those are things we teach with the DBs a lot. It's, we've talked a lot about winning. When the ball's in the air, to knock the ball down in those four instances, those are, I would classify those as 50-50 balls. When that ball gets up and it's a 50-50 shot for the intended receiver or the defensive back to either knock it down, to intercept it, we need to continue to stress, and we're drilling it, and we're focusing on practice in our scout team periods that we do everything we can not to allow the receivers to catch the ball, and those are great four examples. I can go back to the ball in around the 27, 28-yard line, I believe, versus South Alabama. They run a 7-cut into the end zone, and it's surrounded by 3 people. And that's another one of those situations where the players that were there couldn't have been any closer in proximity to the intended receiver. So we got to do a better job of coaching to how to go up and knock the ball down.
When you talk about things you do well, what are y'all doing well so far?
The first thing that comes to mind is I went through the self-scouts. We've had 26 third and 10 pluses. That is, I'm very proud of that. That's, 26 times in 4 games we've had third and 10 plus. I think we're winning we're winning I think 77% of those, which we've been 6 of 26, I believe. I'd like to be a little bit better, 1 or 2 better, and I'd like to be in the teens on that. I think that's something we're doing well. I think we're about maybe 3.5 yards per attempt in the rush game. So I think things like that we're doing well. We're not having to sell out to stop the run, and I'm pleased with the guys, playing physical up front. So those are 2 things that come to mind. I think we're doing a nice job of.
And speaking with Brandon Bryant yesterday, he said, the first month, he's been pressing, he's been trying to be too perfect. How have you seen that from him through the first month?
Brandon's got a lot of ability. He just has to continue to develop his experience. That's something I think I've talked about every week. It's not age, it's inexperience or experience. And he just has to become comfortable and let his ability, let his knowledge just come and shine. And I think sometimes when you try so hard to be perfect, you fall short. When you go out there, and I tell these guys, think about your best high school football game. Think about your frame of mind. Think about your energy. Think about your confidence in what you were doing. And more often than not, some of the best players during their best games, they're just out there having fun. They're enjoying themselves. They're confident in what they're doing, and they're not overcritical of themselves, and they're not over-analytical of what we're asking them to do.
How much of a boost will it be to get Cedric Giles and Will Coleman back out there for your defense?
Well, first of all, we got to get back up to speed. Training camp is a very important part of camp. To get guys mentally and physically prepared for a season. So when you've had a significant amount of time off, it's one thing if you have time off, but to have time off and then also come back from an injury that was preventing you, there's the psychological part of getting back up to speed, the speed of the game, the exhaustion of the practice week and getting to the game, and all those other things that go along with the tempo. and the adjustments that we make. So I'm excited that they're getting, they have an opportunity to get closer. We'll see as the game gets, game gets here. We'll see what their health is.
Dan talked about the team needing to just want to smile and to win and enjoy the win rather than nitpicking everything. How much have you had to do that, I guess, to your unit?
The first thing I got to do it to myself.
Yeah.
I want us to achieve so badly. I made the comment last week. I think I talked about emotional distance. Is sometimes you get so invested in it, it's hard to take a realistic approach of what you're doing because you're so involved in the fight. You can't step back and see how the fight's going and how you're playing. So it's been good for us as the coaches to step back and find things that we're doing well and find the points of, hey, these players are being very productive. These calls are calls that we're doing a great job of executing. So I think it's for the players and I think it's for the coaches as well. We have to, you get so close sometimes. You get so close that it's hard to see anything other than the things you want to do better.
Have you been able to get a head start on Auburn yet?
We've started watching them. We've been, it takes a lot of time with, taking the time for the self-scout to get that completed. And sometimes you get the analytical numbers, but you have to go through and actually watch the plays. We write everything up, but there's usually a lot more to the story than just, hey, there was a misassignment by this jersey number or a misfit in this situation. So there's always a little bit of context to it. We went through today, and for instance, we watched every scoring drive we've had against us and try to find themes of what's happened in those situations, and then compare them against, I think we had 9 drives, I don't know, it was 8 or 9 drives last week that amounted to, I think, less than 10 yards cumulatively. So, it's no different than the first half, second half against South Carolina, first half, second half versus South Alabama, first half, second half versus LSU. And then, 5 drives were not very good, and 9 drives, or the 10 drives, I don't remember what they were lights out. So it's still like how do we become more consistent?
How do you kind of assess Gary's play so far? I know he was very highly thought of when he came in and has that big frame, he's athletic. Now that he's kind of seems to be exclusively working at middle linebacker, inside linebacker, how do you feel like he's adjusted and fit into your defense?
Gary settled in nicely. I think he's played better the last 2 weeks. He played some Viper for us in camp, and he was also playing some Will for us then. So now, he's like you said, he's spending time almost exclusively inside now in practice. So you just got to keep getting better, and we'll get him more opportunities. But when when he's in there playing, he's producing. I think he has a good calm about him, and the more he plays, the better he'll get.
I think DeAndre Ward's starting to get a lot more reps. What have you seen from him the last few weeks? He played a lot, it seemed like, last week. What have you seen from him?
He did. Dre's been real consistent, and I think he had a fine game. I was pleased with his performance on Saturday. We asked him to do a lot of different things, put him in some man situations, and I thought he did a nice job of answering the bell to that.